I mean, I think a lot of us are still wading through the 355 pages. What to date has stood out for you in what you've read in that report?
I think there are several things. The first is just the sheer extent to which the normal processes of government. Before I joined the university, I used to work in government. I worked at the Secretariat of the National Planning Commission, and one of the things that you realize when you work in government is how many hurdles there are to jump over to do even the most basic things. That the administrative processes of government that are set up by the Department of Public Service and Administration, by the National Treasury, that all of those regulations and processes are deeply complex, and they are designed really to have all sorts of internal checks and balances. So one of the things that has struck me as I've read this report is just the extent of flouting those processes and just completely acting around them and not ignoring them in their entirety, which is extraordinary. With decisions happening purely at the political level, and either the administrative processes having to catch up to those at a later stage, or just being ignored completely. So in the sections of the reports that are about Eskom, there is actually one of the sources that was used by the public protector to make to investigate those allegations is a report of the National Treasury about the irregularities in the procurement process between Eskom and Tegeta for coal. So that's the first observation I think that is deeply interesting, and I think that so much of what's come out and some of the reaction that we're seeing from some members of the public, etc., is to try to paint all of government or all of the state with the same brush of corruption and not to be trusted. And I think that what comes through very strongly, in one conclusion that I've reached from this report, and this is my second point, is that we've got very strong institutional and legal and administrative mechanisms in this country for checking executive power and for really limiting it. But also we've got some remarkable public servants who are doing incredible work, without whom these allegations, all of this evidence and all of this information that has been included in this report would never have seen the light of day, right? So we have some extraordinary and really, really committed public servants that are working in the system, that are using the regulations and the laws that exist legally and correctly to be able to really hold the executive and to hold the people that hold power in this country to account. And so those are my first just general observations from the report that I've read so far.